better all the time. Yeah, good, good, good. Hey, set the thing up. Let me make sure I have my. There we go. Gotta have the wafting. Oh. Hey, Instagram, it's me, T from the Patterson, taking trains to Tibet. I gotta make sure I have my, my incense, my smoke wafting through the visuals, because that's my, my stamp, my, what do you call that again? When you have the shadow of a letter, so you know that it's like I don't know, you know what it is. Hey, look, it's it's a Saturday. Whatever comes to my head day, See how I did that? Whatever comes to my head day. T said that would be me. T from the. Look. Here's the thing, right? What happens on Saturdays, whatever comes to my head. So I've been thinking for a couple of days because I did this thing. Look, I talked to you all. Look, okay, let's go back. Let's start all over again. Not all over again. Let's start from here. On Saturday it's a whatever comes to my head day. This is the commentaries I do in the evenings, right? Evenings. Well, I'm in India right now. Evenings India time, it's like after 5:30 something like that. Then on Sundays I do a reading in the evenings from right now we're dealing with Indian writer Tagore. His book here, I really like this book. I should have picked one out. Song Offerings. So somewhere, I usually pick it out sometimes and think, oh, look, I just put a thing right here. Maybe I'm going to do this one here. What page is this? 27. Oh, light of light, kindle it with the burning fire of desire. Ooh, sounds too sexy, too racy for me. Let me put this thing someplace else. Well, anyway, I'll pick one out between now and tomorrow night. Because tomorrow night is when we do or tomorrow evening is when we do Tagore reading. On Mondays is a me day. On Tuesdays is a U.S. day. On Wednesday is World Day. On Thursday is Audio Drama Day, which is it's always joy. On Friday is a week wrap up. You see how that works? And then every morning, what we call a morning, you call it morning. But the first commentary I do is called a Grand Rising Report, right? And usually I do it in Blue Light, and I'm talking to the Blue Light Brigade because we have specific instructions for the Blue Light Brigade. That's what I'm saying. It's a secret organization. You know how they used to have like the Knights of Templar and the Rosicrucians like that? It's like that. The only thing that they had is that they all had they created libraries and they had secret handshakes and all that stuff. We ain't got none of that. In fact, we don't even know who we are. So that's how secret we are. Anyway, that's not the point. So what happened was so those are the main ones, and they usually last I don't know somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes. Depends on how much I want. Blah 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 blah. And usually it's designed to drive people away. No, that's not true. It's just a longer form. But then during the day, like I'll post things like something I'll see, I'll send to people like that. And lately I've been doing these little short, less than a minute things, right? And show what I mean. I did one today on my Commander-in-Chief, right? I don't know if you saw that one. But let me show you some here. So what I'm thinking about today, what came to my head today, is I got to turn this around to show you what I mean. I did this other short thing right here, this thing right here. It's not really a poem. It's whatever it looks like, right? Do what to do, right? And then it says, how do it free me? How do it free us? How do it free we, right? That's the basic thing. Then at the end, which I post up, can't explain to you, but towards ultimate liberation, right? Now, here's the thing. This started with the thought of, and you notice the second one has a reference to Sonia Sanchez, because she had this thing in the 60s, she's from the Black Arts Movement, and she had this thing about, but how do it free us, like that. So that inspired me to write this, how do it free me? I was like, okay, great, right? So now here's what I was thinking. Oh, let me turn this back around. Not that you need to see my Bell's palsied face. Sorry. But so I was thinking about Sonia Sanchez, right? I've seen her not say many times, but I know her work. I'm part of Black Arts. It's like that, right? So I was thinking about her. She's like, she must be about like 90 years old or something like that right now. She's around, and what I realized from her, there's certain people what upsets me about things like let's say that, the rappers, the people today. Let me put it back. I'm a radio man, right? When I started doing radio, right? I started officially, I guess, in 1971, 2, whenever I was poet in residence for WPRB Radio, JB's Saturday Soul with JB, right? Then I got my own radio program when I went to Livingston, when I got to Livingston in 74, and I had to think from 74, 75, 76. Somewhere, by the way, talking about Sonia Sanchez, somewhere in there, I picked up a copy of Camille Yarborough's Iron Pop Cooker. Oh, I loved that album. Oh, yes, I did. So I played that on Variations in Blackness. So that got me to think of Sonia Sanchez. Then I got, Iron Pop Cooker. Those are two great Black Arts Movement kind of peoples, like. And then in the, I guess that was in the 80s. Maybe I went to it before, but in the 80s, basically, you had Jane Cortez. Because, you know how black people say, I just said, She had this poem called, and it explains why we say, all the time. I love that poem. And so I think about, because of Sonia Sanchez, I think about these three great black poets, black women poets, black writers, all spawning from somehow the Black Arts Movement, right? I say, yeah, they don't get the. I think that Jane Cortez, one of the rappers used her thing. So I guess she got somehow. Let me put it this way: this with the sampling thing. I remember when sampling first came out, there was a big thing about it. The people were being ripped off. But it turns out that it sort of promotes whatever it does, right? But I think when people like Sonia Sanchez, like Camille Yarborough, like Jane, peace and blessings on her term. So Jane Cortez has passed already, but these two sisters are still alive, right? So some of these, and plus when the Black Arts Movement, remember, it's a lot about performance, right? So now I think hip hop, if you want to call it that, is going over to more like the early 80s, like performance art. Now, hey, you should be biting off the Black Arts Movement. So, you should talk to Nana Camille Yarborough and give her some commission. Whatever. But, whatever. You see, and that way they get paid, right? Sony Sunshine, same thing, get paid. You see, just think about that. And speaking of, and let me say something else. I'm trying to make it short. And I was thinking something else. I said, now I'm sort of retiring myself from interviewing. I don't really want to interview anymore. Everybody does interviews. They don't really do my style. I don't really like it. I don't want to interview. I interview regular people anyway, so I'm not sure. I'm not feeling interviewing anymore, right? I usually interview people that nobody would interview. You wouldn't know about, stuff like that. So I might stay in that lane, but I'm not really into that. As much as when I started, right, in the 80s. Okay, back to the point. So now I'm thinking like, hey, I wish I could produce interviews or produce conversations. Like, for instance, talk about Camille Yarborough, right? I would have Camille Yarborough have a conversation with Camille Paglia, the feminists, the real feminists, not these fake feminists that whatever they're doing these days, right? That would be a fascinating conversation. You remember when James Baldwin had a conversation with Nikki Giovanni and the whole Black Forum thing that the Motown put out? I wonder why he stopped that. Anyway, the one with, they had lengths to use. Anyway, the point is that would be a fascinating interview. The two Camilles talking to each other, because they're about the same era, right? Then I would have this one I would love. I'd have, remember, I'm not involved. Well, I'm just producing it. Well, somehow, I'm suggesting it, right? I would have Gracia Marcel, who was married to Samora Michelle, and also Madiba, the president, Madiba, the president of South Africa, the first, the guy, the myth, the man, the legend, the tall guy, the Black Pimpernel. Oh, that's so funny to me, right? So Gracia Marcel would have a conversation with Dave Chappelle's mother. So Dave Chappelle's mother was hanging out with Patrice Lumumba. So her, the secretary, something like that. So those two would have a fascinating conversation. There's a lot of people that once you're having a conversation, so what spawned all this stuff, and I keep on trying to get I'm trying to get everybody, especially older people, to start talking, talking into the camera like I'm talking. Some people are doing it, and it doesn't. You don't have to. You just put on some. Don't put on some big. Well, do whatever you want to do, but talking to the camera because if you wait for somebody to do your biography, the biography comes out. What is it? Okay, let's say it's 900 pages, right? Hey, but if you talk weekly or whatever in the thing, and you keep on talking, you see what I'm saying? So like this is my what I'm doing. This is my how you say this my audio memoir. I got a lot of little. I got stories. Oh, I got stories. You know. So something like that, the thing I just showed you like that, that's starting to do that. That's just like a 1 minute thing. Then I have a 1 minute thing over here, 1 minute thing over here. I did something about my commander in chief, my current commander in chief. You know, those kind of little things goes up. And so you say, oh, but then they'll track me. Yeah, that's right. Let them track you. That's the point. Everybody needs to talk. Everybody got a voice. You can't let these people. Why does Muskie? Where's the Muskie man who's got nefarious reasons for doing what he's doing? Why he have a bigger voice? I know why the Dumph man, he's got a bigger voice because he's president of the United States, the commander-in-chief. And they made a decision in the 60s, you know, the networks that said, whatever the president say, we're going to lead the story with him like that. So I understand that, you know. But, hey, you know what I like doing? The American bloggers, hey, bless you, whatever have you, and the relators of stories, they're fine, they're fine. But some of the African ones are really good. Oh man, I've been tuning more into African stuff because you know I'm into the African stuff. Anyway, so I just wanted to say, right? There are ideas out here, and the only way, like for instance, I got this when I started doing this. These little things that I'm starting to do now is because they come from someplace, right? The first one I did, I did a lot of little ones, but the one I really liked the most, I played like I did an offshoot of the Samuel L. Jackson, the thing with say what one more time. I dare you, I double dare you, and I did a little scene like that, and I did it 2 takes, right? And I put that up. I sort of like that one, see? So I want to do a little more things like that. Because I got to get my creative juices flowing, you know, and so that's what happens. All right, I got to go. Bye, because I'm going to eat this fantastic Carolina food. I'm going to get some really good food. All right. Okay. I'll talk to you later. Bye.